Hi, my name is Christopher Dubbs, and I'm an assistant professor of mathematics education at East Stroudsburg University of Pennsylvania. I'd like to talk with you a little bit about my article titled Whose Ethics? Toward Clarifying Ethics in Mathematics Education Research, published in the Journal of Philosophy of Education. So, ethics as a field, as a branch of philosophy, is fundamentally concerned with proper conduct, what it is that we should do as humans. Now, Paul Ernest, in his article, What is Our First Philosophy in Mathematics Education, argued that our ethical responsibility of educating students is that which holds the project of mathematics education together. Yet, research has documented the gatekeeping nature of mathematics, the epistemic violence that erases certain ways of knowing in mathematics, and the racialized and gendered privileging that marginalizes some students. And so this really seems counter to what we might conventionally understand as good or proper. And so I wanted to understand how the field justified the teaching of mathematics. And so this led to two research questions. The first is, how have theories of ethics been applied to math ed research? And so this involved looking at the field, looking at research published that uses this keyword of ethics, and how they've defined it in their work. The second is what alternatives haven't been considered. So if we look at philosophy research, what other ethical formulations are documented or written, and what might be the implication if we would adopt those in the field of mathematics education. And so the central argument that I get to is that ethics per se is construed too narrowly in the philosophy of math literature, and if we consider additional perspectives, we can generate new ideas in our field. And so I get to this by reviewing the literature shown in Figure 1 here. And so if you look at the included articles along the right-hand side, there tend to be one of 6 ethical formulations adopted within the research. The first is an ethic of care, and then an ethic of critique, or mathematics as an ethics itself, Levinasian ethics, Foucaultian ethics, and then indigenous ethics. And so in his What is Our First Philosophy piece, Ernest endorses, or at least elaborates, Levinasian ethics. And as you can see, that's the one with the most considerable uptake within the field. And so it seems worthwhile to elaborate a little bit what Levinas's ethics are about. And so for Levinas, it's our capacity to be responsible for others, even than our responsibility for our own selves. That's the defining characteristic of humanity. Levinas's ethical perspective is this responsibility for the other. But this isn't the only way to define ethics. And if we look at the branches of ethics, there are 3 kind of well-known normative branches. So that's virtue ethics, duty ethics, and utilitarian ethics. And I think non-normative ethics tend to be conflated a lot with postmodern ethics, and so I think that's a useful illustrative tool. Because Descartes, right, in this mind-body split says, I think, therefore I am. But if we would think of Levinas's ethics, he says, I am ethically responsible, therefore I think and am. So for Levinas, ethics is this first philosophy, this foundational philosophy that guides human existence. But another approach, instead of saying I'm ethically responsible, therefore, would be the work of Judith Butler, who says that I am ethically responsible, and I think, and I am. So it's that these 3 things are intertwined and happen simultaneously. Some final thoughts are the Levinasian perspective presented by Ernest is often presented as being synonymous with ethics, but it unnecessarily limits what we can understand as being ethical mathematics education research. If, as researchers, we explicitly adopt an ethical perspective, we can generate new ways of interrogating and understanding mathematics education research. But as philosophers of education, it's important that we have a clarity in our language. So when we invoke ethics, instead of treating it as univocal or something with a singular, fixed meaning, to whose ethics do we refer? I hope you enjoy the paper. Thank you.